Hey everyone, welcome back to Sable Family Vlogs. In case you're new to the channel, we're a family moving from Northeast Pennsylvania to beautiful sunny Florida to follow our dreams. Today we're going to be talking about job hunting in Florida, our experience, so we can give you guys a little tips and tricks on how to prepare to do that. Before we get started, if you can hit that bell notification, subscribe, and smash that like button so that you're front row every time we post another video. So before we get started, I wanted to talk about some of the most common jobs that we've seen in Florida. They're as follows. There's lots of nursing jobs, whether you're a CNA or a nurse. There's lots of warehouse work, whether you're manufacturing, shipping, packing, receiving. There's lots of work in that industry. Hospitality, well, you're in Florida. Everybody knows you got Universal Studios, Disney, SeaWorld, and all of the other great attractions. So there's lots of opportunities for hospitality as well. Construction, well, if you live in Florida or have been to Florida, you've seen I-4 and all of the crazy highways they have in Florida. So if you're in the construction business, Florida is definitely right for you. Any type of skilled labor work, if you're in HVAC doing air conditioning, that would be great. If you're a painter, masonry, any type of work like that, you're always going to have work in Florida. And another popular one, there's lots of jobs as well, for landscaping. So if you're in any of those fields, I don't think you'll have any problem finding a job. So now I want to go over some of the things that you're going to want to do to get your job resume out there and start your job search. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to update your resume. You may have an older resume that hasn't been updated in years. Maybe you're at your job for quite a while. You didn't plan on moving, and now you just have to update that. So I would start by updating your resume. Don't be afraid to brag about any of your past accomplishments. Maybe you've had at work. Maybe you were just a regular employee, worked your way up to a lead or supervisor, or anything academically that you've accomplished even when you were younger. So any type of academics or any type of job, anything you did good, I would definitely not be afraid to add that to your resume. One thing that's very important, especially if you're moving from another state to Florida, you're going to want to have a cover letter. In that cover letter, I would put that you are moving to Florida. Say, like for instance with mine, I put I was moving from Pennsylvania to Florida sometime in January. So like when I had my resume and the job recruiters, they saw that I lived in Pennsylvania, but I was definitely moving to Florida in January, that I'm serious about moving. So you definitely want to add that to your cover letter, that whatever state you're from, that you're moving to Florida. And I would give an approximate, at least month. It doesn't have to be exactly on the date, but you're going to want to have at least a month that you plan on moving. And also with your cover letter, I would put like what you bring to the table, like why this company should hire you. Maybe you have perfect attendance always, you have a positive attitude. You come to the table with new ideas, thinking different ways of thinking outside of the box. Like any reason the new company should hire you, put that in the cover letter. It's going to go a long way in you finding your job ultimately. People that are recruiting really like that. So after you've updated your resume, you've done your cover letter, you're going to want to take your resume and put it out there on all the major job sites like LinkedIn, Monster, Indeed. You're going to want to put those on each and every single one of those. I found that I got a lot more job hits back from Indeed. They've been pretty responsive with them, more so than the other ones. So Indeed for me worked the best. It may not be the best for you, but I can say recently Indeed was pretty good for me. Okay, so after you've signed up for those major job sites and you put your resume out there, you're going to want to go ahead and start applying for jobs. So to do that, I would just keep in mind wherever you plan on living. Let's say you're moving to Florida, you plan on moving to Orlando. I wouldn't want to move somewhere that's really far from Orlando, so I would try to keep it within like a half hour or so, because you have to keep in mind of the traffic. Just because it says it's a half-hour drive from wherever you plan on living, the traffic may make it an hour or a little bit more. So you don't want to get stuck in traffic to and from work, so you're going to want to keep that in mind for sure. And like once you've put in your applications to these new jobs, I wouldn't expect to hear something back very fast. Now this is just going on my experience. I put in a bunch of applications, maybe a week went by, I didn't hear too much. But at the end of like the second week, it seems like most of the applications that I put out there, I was starting to get back, whether they wanted to do a phone interview with me or if they just were moving on to the next person. But by that second week, I really started hearing a lot of feedback back and job interviews as well on the phone. So usually by the second week, how it's been for me, you'll hear a lot back. So yeah, you'll be doing your interviews over the phone. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Some of them want to do Zoom calls. So if you're doing a Zoom call, you'll obviously want to try to look presentable, but most of them just did an interview over the phone, so it's not that big of a deal. But I would definitely try to find a nice quiet place with no distractions so that you can clearly hear what the job recruiter is saying on the telephone. Like after the interview process, you'll probably hear back within a few days whether they're interested and want to hire you or not. So if it is a job that you were definitely interested in, want the job, it's very important if you're moving from a different state to Florida, you're going to want to get that job offer letter. What that is they're offering you that position. It'll have the company header on the top with maybe their address, phone number, and then they're going to put your name, and then they're also going to put how much you're going to be paid per hour and how many hours a week that you're going to be working. That's very important because if you plan on renting a house or an apartment, you need to show that you make 2 to 3 times the rent. All places are different. Some will be 2 times the rent, some will be 2.5 times the rent, and some will be 3 times the rent. But this is your household income. So if you or your spouse also are working, they're going to take your spouse into consideration as well. But you're going to need that job offer letter. They're going to ask you for that when you're putting in your application for your house or apartment to rent, because they're going to want to see that you are working. Another tip I would say is just be patient. Like if you are getting a bunch of the recruiters back for the jobs and they do want to hire you, I wouldn't suggest maybe taking the first job unless it's one that you really, really want. Maybe it's in the perfect location, the pay is right, it's not too far from your house or apartment. Then I can most definitely see that, but there's going to be many opportunities, so don't feel like you have to jump on the first opportunity that you have, because odds are there's going to be many more of those applications you have, they'll be getting back to you. Yeah, so I found a job within about 2 weeks. My wife found a job literally in a matter of 3 days. So she's in the nursing field. I mean, it's very prevalent in Florida, obviously. People retire there from up north and come down south. They like the warmer weather, so there's lots of opportunities for nursing. Like I said, she found a job very fast. So that's very encouraging if you're in the nursing field. You're not going to have any problem at all. So if you like this video, please comment down below and feel free to ask any questions that you may have. And as always, make today awesome.